Let's paint this cute chihuahua with his tongue out in my mini painting series. Let's get right into it.
It's color Christie.
So first I'm going to lay down the basic elements. So I do the little tongue, and then I'll add a nose and kind of place where the ears are. I underestimated how far apart the ears were here, so I will end up fixing it later. So if you're following along, you might want to go a little bit wider. I'm laying down just a basic pink color here. I mixed together a little bit of orange with my pink to have a more coral feel, and just smudging out the ears. I'm putting down where I want the eyes to go and the angle, but this is going to evolve through the painting. I end up making them a little bit bigger and kind of moving things around a little bit. Watercolor is pretty easy to lift off the page, and you'll see that in a second. We're just laying the basics down, and this is where I realized that I was too close to that ear, so I just dab a little bit of water, kind of rub it in, and try to lift some of that color off the page. Dabbing it a little bit with some paper towel, and it looks pretty visible now, but when I'm all done, you're barely going to notice. So now I'm just going in and doing the basic shape of his face. I'm using a very, very light gray here, knowing that I might still lift some color off the page, and I'll probably make some adjustments as I go. Now I'm using a lot of negative space in this painting. Because it's a white Chihuahua, most of the Chihuahua is going to be white page. So I made the ears too small here, and I made the head too big, but again, I'm just putting in kind of the basic areas. I'm not finalizing it yet, so as I go back and forth and I look at the image that I'm using, I will make adjustments. I posted on social media asking people to send me their funny pictures of their pets. And this painting is available for sale, and I'm doing a series where I'm making them for sale, the original, and it'll be all little original paintings that are made to order. So this is where I start blocking in the negative space. So I have to make sure the ears are right here. So I kind of go out wide, and I'm giving myself more space within the image. So the white part, I'm giving myself lots of room, basically making the image too big so that I can correct it as I go. So I start with a line that's further out, and then I slowly bring it in a little bit by little bit, just to make sure that I don't add color where I don't want it. It's much easier to get it right the first time than having to lift the color off. And immediately you can see the painting starting to take shape. Here I decided I wanted the eyes to be a little bit bigger, rounder, and completely black like a cartoon character. And I'm testing this series to see what my audience likes. I really am enjoying doing these little paintings because they're so funny. This will be something that I sell at markets and on Etsy. So if you want one, if you have a little white Chihuahua or you have a different color Chihuahua or whatever, you can message me or check out the link to my Etsy. And it even comes with a little frame. So now I'm just blocking in some of the little shapes inside the nose. This little guy had a little white nose with kind of a black overlay. So I'm just kind of adding in some little shadows and dabbing around to try and find the right way that I want it to look, if that makes any sense. And this was the funnest part, playing with the tongue, because it's so cute. And I had realized that I didn't make it far enough up, so I add a little bit to the tongue here, make it go up his face just a tiny little bit, and then I'll fix the color in the tongue once that's dried. I'm just adding a little bit of extra color, blending in that line that I just created, and darkening it up at the base of the tongue, adding that little line down the tongue, and just making it look really, really cute. I think that looks way better than it did before, so I was pretty happy with the angle of the tongue there. I'm adding a little bit of gray now. I'll be going in and adding shadows. So he had a little bit of a gray, kind of not a mustache, but just where his mouth is was a little bit darker. And I'm going in and adding the little nostrils just in black. And adding some definition around the face to give him some shadowy spots. Chihuahuas have these cute little heads where they kind of have like a triangle shape, but their eyes are so big and their little snout, so their cheekbones kind of come in a little bit, so I wanted to make sure I define the cheekbones. And I'm putting shadow in the ears here, but I do go in later with a little bit of white gel pen and add some little hairs. Adding the little eyebrow ridge here. Just a little shadow. I was trying to be delicate with the shadows because I don't want this dog to look like he's dirty and I don't want him to look gray. So I'm starting with like light, and on the left part of the cheek I think I went a little too dark, so I think I do end up lightening it up shortly. Adding a little bit of gray around the body just to give it a little look of, you know, there's hair, it's not just like a flat surface. And trying to lift some of that color. I went a little too dark there, so I'm kind of dabbing out some of that dark gray and just lifting the color. So going back and forth, but you have to be careful when you do this that you don't overwork the paper. When I do shadows, I like to go in really light and then let it dry, and then go in with a little bit darker. Because again, it's kind of hard to lift that color once it's down. It's doable, you can do it, but I don't want to overwork the paper. So going in and adding shadows just a little bit at a time, and adding those little nostrils. There's a cute little nose. And with any piece of art, it always sparkles when you add the final touches. So darkening up the little tongue a little bit. And because the tongue is pink, it'll stand out more. Anytime I'm doing a pet, I'll take a white gel pen or paint pen, add some little eye sparkles, add some little spots on the nose to make it look wet, add some dots on the tongue, but I'm dabbing it to make sure that they're not too prominent. We're going to add some ear hairs. I added one more sparkle to the eye because I felt like it needed it. I let it dry, then I put it in my little thrifted frame, close it up, and ta-da! You have the cutest little guy ever. Waiting for the reveal. Ta-da! So this is up on my Etsy. If you want one, or anybody you know has a Chihuahua and wants one, feel free to go buy it. Bye for now.